So today the subject is the 4 income streams every real estate agent must have to thrive in any market. The reality is this is something I'm developing and learning myself. I've been pretty good at 2 of them, and we'll talk about the first 2, but the last 2 are something that I'm having to learn as I go. So number 1 is something to think about. When a man tells you he got rich through hard work, ask him whose. Like whose hard work led to their wealth, you know? So the number 1 stream of income every real estate professional needs to be very, very comfortable with is lead conversion. And I don't mean specifically the leads we give you or Realtor.com or Zillow or whatever, but everyone outside of your mom is a lead. Most of us can pay our car payment and possibly some groceries off of our people we love and trust. We've got to get to where we make a lot of money off of people we know and like. We've got to learn how to convert leads. And so lead conversion is kind of principle number 1 that has to exist. So the principle is traditional real estate requires the closing of transactions. As an agent, deal closing should always be the number 1 focus. If you're not closing enough deals, you're either missing effort or opportunity. And the way that breaks out is it's a math equation, which is persistency plus consistency times opportunity equals money. Okay? So opportunity, by virtue of you being here in this room, most of you take leads that we give you. If you don't have enough opportunity, then you need to talk to Nan and make sure she gets you dialed up. But for the most part, when we see people not have success in real estate, it's a missing of one of these 3 elements. So I'll just tackle opportunity first. You need to have 30 to 40 opportunities per month in order to close 20 to 30 transactions a year. Does that make sense? So opportunities are either leads we give you, leads you buy from Zillow, people that walk into an open house, or friends and family referrals. If you get 30 to 40 opportunities a month, you can succeed if you follow the other 2 principles in the math equation. So we talk about persistent and consistent. So part of the struggle I see agents have is they will be persistent over a very short period of time. And guess what they end up with? Success. So they work really hard and they have a lot of push-throughs over a short period of time. And so they end up having momentary success. And I'm sure Teresa could tell you, if you track the stats, most real estate agents go 2 closings in January, 0 February and March, 2 closings in April. Very rare does someone that do 12 deals a year go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's usually 2, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 2. And at the end of the year, they're at 12, and it's because they possess the ability to be persistent, meaning they push through when they face obstacles. They'll get on the phone and they'll hammer out whatever they need to do. They panic, and their panic leads to persistence. It leads to stick-to-itiveness. And for a short period of time, they work really, really hard. The problem is they lack the consistency to do it over a long enough period of time to create month after month after month success. So I don't know if you've seen that in your own career or if you've seen it in the lives of others, but persistence without consistency will lead to spotty success. Short bursts of success followed by long periods of failure. Okay? The flip side to that is someone who is very consistent with their work ethic, but they are quitters when they get on the phone, when they get someone in person. They're just not very persistent. So when you say like, Joe, why do real estate agents fail? I would point to one of these 2, and I would say they fail in one of 2 ways. They either have momentary success, but because they're not consistent, the success is momentary, or they are working their butt off, and they're very consistent, but because they're not persistent, they never push through to find true success. So I hope I'm articulating that correctly, but you have to have both of those in order to succeed. It literally is a math equation. If you don't have persistence, and you don't have consistency, and you don't have opportunity, then you won't have success. But if you have all 3 of those elements, your revenue stream with lead closings will be consistent. So here's the practice for me. Last year, our core team of 8 to 10 agents did about 280 transactions. Our brokerage, we call it a teamerage, so agents, a lot of you are what we would call teamerage agents. You're independent, but we still give you leads and transaction management. We did about 800 transaction sides that way. Altogether, we did about just over 1,000 units. So I don't sell homes. When I do attempt to do it, I'm actually very bad at it, believe it or not. So for me, why am I not good at it is just because I'm not sharp. If I committed and started having conversations with clients and writing offers and showing houses, I would become good at it again because I would apply myself, but it's just not a skill set I possess. Why do most people struggle with consistency? It's usually, if you write down this question, the question also happens to be the what? The answer. So if your why isn't big enough, then you don't, by asking the question, you also answer it. I always go back to, why did people get into real estate in the first place? Like, how many of you got into real estate to achieve massive wealth and provide for your families? A couple of you guys, that's good. Some of you got into real estate because you went to the closing table and your significant other looked at how much money Ryan was making and went, sweetheart, you should be a realtor. You'd be awesome at this. Ryan just made $15,000. You could make $15,000. We saw Ryan for 3 hours. You could make $5,000 an hour by being a realtor. And then they go to real estate school, and then they show up here, and we go, hey, we're going to give you leads. Oh, great. I'll call leads. Oh, awesome. Like, welcome. And then they show up, and they never do anything. And it's because why they got into it wasn't to, like, if you don't love the grind, the success is going to be temporary. If you love the success, but you don't love the work, it's going to be temporary. So many people got into our industry for that reason. So if someone's not consistent, my hypothesis would be their why is just not big enough. You know, so it's like, if we're living comfortable lives, not many people find more motivation and comfort than they do in discomfort. But what I'll tell you is, if you can shift your mindset away from paying your bills to wealth creation, it becomes highly motivating. Like, I am more motivated now than I've ever been. So at some point, and I can't pinpoint it, but at some point my motivation went from paying my car payment and house payment to creating wealth. So now it's not a function of how much money do I need to make myself comfortable, because I am never comfortable. I'm always pushing. So residual income. So there's a couple of different ways to create residual income, but the principle is our ability to feed our families and our future cannot rely completely on our ability to show homes and write contracts. It is the foundation for us as real estate professionals. It's where we start, but we have to expand beyond that. So that's the principle. At some point, we must learn to make money while not actively closing a deal. So early on in your career, it's hunt and eat. And those are your two options. Like, you hunt, you kill, you eat. If you don't hunt or you don't kill, you don't eat. The key is to build an ecosystem in which you still hunt and kill, because as a real estate professional, that is the foundation. But you figure out ways to feed your family that aren't solely dependent on your success from the last month, if that makes sense. So that's the principle. Well, here's the practice. There are 3 ways in which I feed my family from the closing of real estate on a residual basis. And I'm being completely transparent with you guys. Number 1 is our core team. We have about 8 or 10 agents on the Joe Taylor group. They're here every day. We meet with them. They take a lot of our time, and a lot of our money is invested in that team to generate leads and systems and support and training and mentorship and guidance that will allow that team to create money for me when I'm not actively showing a house or writing a contract. A little bit less time, but probably more money, is our team Ridge, all of our lead program agents. So we spend a lot of money to generate leads and run systems and have manpower that helps them to succeed. Now the trade-off is it takes a little bit less of my time. So while Erin and I might be together 3 or 4 times a week, Mihaela, it's like 3 or 4 days a month she's with us. So it's less of my time, but it probably costs me more money to run the leads program than it does to run my core team. Now, number 3 is what I want you guys to all be focused on, is your rev share. So it's very little time and really no money. You can create residual income for yourself based on the principles of revenue share inside the Real Broker Network. If I want to make money while I'm not actively selling a home, the fastest way for me to do that is to introduce agents into my brokerage. Like, it's literally introduce people into the world. If it makes sense for them and they come on to the company, then you have an income potential somewhere between $1,300 and $4,000 per year per agent. So my goal for everyone when we first sit down is I want you to be making your car payment by month 6 in rev share. I really want you to be making your house payment by month 12. So it's a simple math equation to say, let's take the median between these two and say $2,500 per year per agent. So how much is your car payment? And it's a real easy math equation to do. If I say my car payment is $500 a month, then I need to be making $6,000 a year in rev share to pay my car payment. So then I just go times 3 is $7,500, and now I'm making my car payment and my insurance payment. That's 3 agents I introduce into the company. This isn't chasing and recruiting. This is about how many agents do you know in the Valley? I probably know 400, 500, 1,000 agents. So it's about looking at the people, if you were here last week, that you know, like, love, and trust, and just go, who are some individuals I can reach out to and go, hey, I'm not sure if you heard, but did you hear about our move over to Real Broker? Like, it's been pretty cool. Do you want to come check it out? So then if you said, well, my house payment is $2,500 a month, then the math equation becomes real simple. Times 12 gives you $30,000 a year in rev share that will enable you to pay your house payment every year. And so this is a great way for you with very little time and no out-of-pocket expense to build a residual income that while you are out showing homes, you're making money on additional homes. While you're on vacation, you're making money on additional homes. And so it all becomes a function of who do you know or like, who do you love or trust that you can introduce into this ecosystem that can kind of create some pretty cool residual income for yourself without the heaviness of building a team. All right, so Mahela, let's talk about stock acquisition. So Warren Buffett says, the stock market is nothing but a tool of transferring money from the inpatient to the patient. Does that make sense? Like, the stock market is purely if you're patient with the stock market, you will make money. Like, there's no question about it. And so the issue is most of us are too impatient to allow ourselves the time to make the money we need to make. If you look at the history of the stock market, year over year over year, it generally grows. And so when we lose money is when we become impatient or when we listen to advice from stupid people. And so here's why I want to talk about that. So how does this apply in my personal life? So I acquire stock in 4 different ways in Real Broker, and then I also will buy stock in Smart People. Okay? So Smart People is, I'm very comfortable with Tesla. I'm very comfortable with Amazon. So there is money to be made, small money, but money in just investing in really powerful companies and trusting that over the long run they're going to succeed. So let's talk about investing in myself, Mahela. So there's 4 ways in which I acquire stock in my company. Now, I don't own Real Broker. I am a very minority shareholder in the company. I currently have, I think, 50,000 shares of stock, super small. So I've acquired them in 4 different ways. So I acquire stock by purchasing it on the open market. So before we ever even came over to Real Broker, I had purchased 20,000 shares of stock just on E-Trade. So it's a publicly traded stock. For that, I paid full market value, right? So I literally paid $1.82 a share, and today it's at like $1.96 a share. So I'm up 10% or whatever. I invest in myself in another way because I participate in the stock purchase plan. So any of you guys that filled out your independent contractor agreement will know about this. If you guys haven't, here's how it works. So every year, I am able to take $15,000 of my commission dollars and reinvest it in the company. So Real Broker says if you invest up to $15,000 a year, we will put a 33% bonus on top of your dollars. So if I make $150,000 in gross commissions, Real Broker will take $15,000, so I now have $135,000. I'm actually buying the stock. But what they do is they say for your $15,000, we're going to give you back just shy of $20,000 worth of stock. It's like $19,500. Okay, so let's take, for example, the current stock price and say it's $2 a share. Gives me 10,000 shares of stock. Year one is easy. You guys following me? So for $15,000, I get $20,000 worth of stock at $2 a share, 10,000 shares of stock. Simple math. Year two, I reinvest another $15,000. I get $20,000. And let's say the stock is at $4 a share. So at $4 a share, I get 5,000 shares of stock. Now let's go one more year just for fun. I put in 15,000 in stock, I get 20,000 in stock. Now we're at $8 a share. So this is taking into account, it doubles every year. Okay, so by 2024 or whatever, let's say it's at $8 a share. And now my 20,000 buys 2,500 shares of stock. All right, cool. So at year three, 15, 15, 15 equals $45,000. So by the end of year three, well, let's start year four, and let's say I opt out of the stock purchase program at that point, but let's say the stock goes to $16, okay? So I have 17,500 shares, and it's cost me $45,000 to do it. So we've invested over a 3-year period, $45,000 we've paid ourselves. They've given us back 17,500 shares of stock. So Ryan, let's say at the end of year 4, our total in is $45K. We own 17,500 shares of stock. The stock is $16 a share.
Total value is
$280,000. So this is the value of the stock purchase plan. Now I'm making assumptions with a couple of things. So I'm assuming in 4 years the stock will double every year. So 2, 4, 8, 16. Okay, so that's an assumption. The stock could be worth $1, could be worth $100. We don't know. But I'm taking into assumption that the stock is going to double in value every year. I'm also taking into assumption that I close enough deals to max out my stock purchase plan. So there's no way for me to just go, here's a check for $15,000. They want it all done based on production, because what does production do to stock value? It increases it. So as we close deals, it increases the value of the company. So they don't want 2,000 agents all cutting a check for $15,000 and getting 20,000 in stock back. They want us all to produce, which then raises the value of the company. And then not only are they giving us the stock back, but because we produce, the stock is worth more money. But this is a way for me to take $45,000 and with optimistic appreciation, turn $45,000 into $280,000. So that's way number 2, is purchasing it. Number 3 is agent attraction. So who do you know, like, love, or trust that would be interested in taking our leads and closing them and making money? So the principle is just open your mouth and start conversations. It's not about being spammy and hopping on a dialer and like forcing people to do anything. It's about reaching out to people you know and you like, and people you love and you trust, and just having real conversations with people. When this happens and those agents close their first deal, you get 500 shares of stock. So now that one conversation at $16 a share, that they come over and join this company, could pay you $8,000, $10,000, $4,000, $1,000, whatever it is. Like, it's pretty cool. All of us have been at companies before where we're like, dude, you ought to come check out Keller Williams or Realty One Group or wherever you're at. And then people come over and you get a pat on the back and maybe like a Starbucks gift card. Well, here the company's saying, like, do that, and then we'll give you 500 shares of stock and some rev share. All right, the last one is through awards. So when you reach your cap, you will get shares of stock issued the next month. So for all of you at a 4K cap, you get 333 shares of stock for capping. If you're at a 6K cap, which I don't think anybody is, it's 500. And if you're paying into a 12K cap, you get 1,000 shares of stock. So just by closing enough deals every year to cap, you get shares of stock in return as an award. So it's, for me, I view this as San Francisco 1848. Like the gold rush hasn't yet hit, but the opportunity is big. And so what am I doing? I'm buying as many boxes of shovels from China as I could possibly get because I don't want to be the one doing all the digging. I want to be the one handing out shovels. The gold rush is coming. So my advice is get as many shovels as you possibly can because you're going to need to be handing them out. What is shovels? It's shares of stock. So if you say I don't have the money to invest, great. Don't. Just have good conversations with real people that could find value in what we're building, and then it's a cool opportunity for you. So I'm really excited about that because all I've ever done on the stock market is make a little bit from smart people and lose a bunch from idiots. And so now I'm excited to invest in myself. All right, principle number 4. I taught this class 2 months ago, and one of the individuals sitting in this class made $8,000 like 3 weeks later from what I'm about to tell you. Okay, super cool story. All right, so real estate investing. Do not buy real estate, or do not wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. It's like a 100-year-old adage. Like if you buy a piece of property today, barring nuclear apocalypse, it's going to be worth significantly more in 20 years. So don't wait, buy real estate and then wait. But then here's a really cool math equation. So Mahala, how long have you been in real estate?
5 years.
5 years. All right. So Mahala, what we should do is create the Master Award. But there is a moment of celebration that comes at year 4 in your real estate practice if you've been doing it full time. Leilani, how long have you been going?
3.5.
She's almost there. Okay. So look at this math equation. If you spend 50 hours a week over 50 weeks a year, we'll give you 2 weeks of vacation, over 4 years, you've got your 10,000 hours. When you have 10,000 hours at something, you become a master in that thing. So if you see those guys on Instagram like throwing the cards and trying to stick it into like have you ever seen those? They like in a hat across the room and they do it and they go crazy. They probably throw 10,000 cards or whatever. But if you spend 10,000 hours in the practice of real estate, you will become an expert. You will become a master. So here's a hard conversation Taylor and I had to have. Why do we pass up so many real estate investment opportunities to other people who know less than us when we are the masters? I mean, I have 50,000 hours in the practice of real estate. So I don't know what, maybe I'm like a wizard or something. I don't know. But I am a master at real estate. I've been doing this for so freaking long. Why am I not using the knowledge I have to create that 4th stream of income, which is real estate investment? So here's how it works for us in a practical sense. We look at the hierarchy of every single real estate deal brought to us, and our number 1 goal is to put it into an owner finance situation. By that I mean, I want to, Ryan, if you have a house you want to sell me that's worth about $200,000 or $150,000 or $100,000, I'm fine with either. I'm willing to pay about 50 to 70% of its full market value. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy his $100,000 home for $60,000. And then I'm going to find somebody with terrible credit. And I'm going to sell that home to them for $120,000. They have to pay a little bit of a premium because their credit sucks, right? They're going to have to put down $15,000 for me to do the deal. Okay, remember, I'm into it for 60. Aaron just gave me 15 as a down payment. I'm then going to become the bank. And I say, here is the title to the property, and here is a note in which we are the bank. And you're going to pay me 10% interest on the $105,000. So you're paying $1,000 a month in an interest-only payment, and you gave me $15,000. So I'm into it now for $45,000, and I'm collecting $1,000 a month. The rate of return on that's about 30%. It's awesome. So we do as many of those as we possibly can do. If we can't do that, then we wholesale it. So Ryan brings me his house and he says, hey, I really want to sell, and we can't owner finance it, we try to just wholesale it. Meaning we put a contract on his property and then we take it to Teresa, say, hey, Teresa, will you buy this home that's worth 120 for 75? She says yes. My contract with Ryan is for 60, my contract with her is for 75. So we make $15,000 on the deal. If we can't do that, then we buy it and we flip it. If we can't do that, then we list it and we sell it. If we can't do any of those things, we will rent it until the person dies. We don't do rentals unless there's a death clause in it. We have 2 rentals currently where people will be there until they die. And we got it for a really good price. And they may live for 10 years, they may live for a year, they may live for 20 years. In any event, we're going to hold on to that property until that individual dies. And when they die, it's going to be worth way more than we paid for it. And so at that point, we'll probably owner finance it. If we can't do that, we're not going to wholesale it because we already own it. We'll flip it, or we'll, worst case scenario, list and sell it. Why do I bring all of this up? Well, you have in Taylor and I partners. Bring us any deal that doesn't make sense to you. Here is the real world application of that. Chris Rosen sat in this class 2 months ago, and we said, which I believe is true, every single one of us comes across 2 to 4 opportunities a year that would be good investment opportunities. We generally pass them up because they don't look like real estate investment opportunities. So our real estate investment opportunities look like this. Chris Rosen got a lead from us of a guy who wanted to buy a house. As he talked to him, he found out the guy was renting the home he was in. So Chris said, well, do you have any interest in buying the property you're currently living in? The guy said, yeah, I would love to buy it if the guy would sell it to me. So Chris said, well, let me reach out to the seller, see what he's willing to do. The seller said, yeah, that place is a piece of crap. I want it gone. Chris said, well, running comps, it looks like full market value is 420. If it was fixed up, it's not fixed up. It's a piece of crap. How much would you sell it for? And I think the guy agreed to sell it to his tenant for $300,000. So his tenant went crazy. Like, I've got to get this deal done. So we passed the deal off to lender. Lender looked at the buyer and said, buyer cannot qualify. So then Chris was sitting there with a contract for $300,000 and an unqualified buyer. So he came to Taylor and I and said, how do we do this deal? So we couldn't owner finance it because it was probably out a little bit higher than we wanted to, because we couldn't get the down payment. The guy had no down payment. So what did we do? We wholesaled it. So basically we assumed the contract with the owner, and then we took it to an investor and sold it for $340,000. So after paying everything, Chris's portion of that deal ended up being $8,000, and it happened in like a week. He was going to make $4,000 on the sale, like doing the deal regularly. He made $8,000 on the wholesale deal. So why do I bring that up? Is to encourage you to never pass up any opportunity, especially the weird ones. Like when you come across something, you're like, this is weird. I'll tell you what we don't do. Every once in a while, agents hear this, and then we had an agent hit me up that goes, hey, Joe, I'm selling my daughter's home. Do you guys want to buy it? It could probably be a really cool rental. To which my answer was, is your daughter willing to sell her home for 60% of what it's worth? No. Okay, well, cool. Go sell it on the open market. Like, we're not just buying homes at random for full market value. That's not our game. That's like Canadian trust funds game. That's not our game. Our game is when you have an old lady that's been smoking in a house for 20 years and there's extensive water damage in the kitchen and you want to go list it, but she won't let you show it to anybody because she's ashamed of it. That's our game. That's the one we want. And you're going to go as a real estate agent like, I can't do anything with this. Like, she won't even let me show it. Bring it to Taylor and I and just say, hey, is there anything we could do with this thing? Sometimes we'll come back to you and say, no, there's not. More times than not, the weirder and smokier and methier, the better. And we'll get a deal done. We'll get a deal put together with you. So just bring us opportunities. Don't pass up those 2 to 4 opportunities a year, because you may do your first couple with us and then you may do your next one on your own. And you would have the biggest cheerleaders in the world in Taylor and I if you go and do it on your own. Like, we would love to see that happen. Until you get there, either from a knowledge or a financial standpoint, and you need our help on either one of those, we're your guys. We're more than happy to help you with any of that. So, all right, that is it. My preferred mode of contact has become Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, do so. And if you message me on Instagram, I will generally respond. I'm more apt to respond to an Instagram message than a text message these days. I don't know why.